Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Dr. Glenn Vo, and I am super excited. I've been trying to get these guys on for quite some time. You recognize one of them, but someone is somewhat new. He's a newbie, but we're gonna introduce him to the group. It is Ali, the CEO of Adit, and then Jonathan Karren. He's with them too. What's up, guys?
What's up? Thanks for having us,
Hi.
Glenn.
Thanks for
Awesome.
having us, Glenn. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So look, I mean, I bet we've been talking, right? Ali, you and I have been talking, right? You were talking about, about the Nifty community. You're telling me about the new platforms, all these great things, and I had a frank conversation with you. I was like, hey, look, man, there's a lot of people who love what you do, and there's a few people in Nifty that are unhappy, right? So again, like I just wanted to jump in right away, just address that right away, because in the Nifty community, we're all about helping each other out, saving money, but also leveling up. But also we want to have a relationship, not only with like the companies that we work with, us dentists, but also the people that lead those companies. And so I'm so happy to have both of you guys on there. And Ali, again, I'm just gonna address it right away before we jump into what Adit does and everything. Let's just address it, like the few people that are unhappy with Adit or had issues in the past. I just want to give you a chance to address it right away.
Absolutely. So first of all, Dr. Bo, thank you so much for having us today. It's a pleasure. I know we've been trying to make it happen for like 2+ years. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for getting us on in your group and giving us a chance to talk about Adit. And so absolutely. So any company, and I think this is my first company straight out of college. So I started Adit in about 2011, 2012, and it's been an amazing journey over 10 years. We've been serving specifically the dental industry for about 10 years. And obviously, you start off a company and you learn a lot of things as you grow. And, we've been fortunate we start off in the digital marketing space, helping dentists grow new patients, right? And one of our biggest goals at Adit was, how do I help dentists grow? And we came in the industry with a whole thing about transparency and tracking patients that actually book appointments by listening to phone calls. And we're actually one of the first marketing companies to bring that concept to market. And as we grew and we were doing pretty good in marketing, obviously with marketing, it's a very subjective concept, right? 20 patients for one practice can mean one thing versus 20 patients for another practice can mean another thing. Marketing is only a percentage of the pipeline for a practice. How you pick up phone calls, treatment acceptance rate, diagnostic rate, production on first visit, all these kinds of things impacts how well a marketing program does for your practice. And I think over the years, we realized that a lot of dentists struggle in the many aspects beyond marketing. We also learned that marketing is something that's not always a one glove fits all, and at the same time, what might work for one office might not work for another, right? And so I think over the years we learned that program. We learned what worked, what didn't work. We made a lot of dentists successful. We have over 1,000 customers that still pay for our marketing program, that to dental offices. And so a lot of them have grown. A couple practices in Nifty Thrifty actually grew from zero, meaning they started with Adit, exited with more than 5 locations, more than 10 million in valuations. Wow. Crazy success stories, right? So there's so many practices, so many DSOs, so many multi-locations, individual locations that still use Adit today for marketing, and they see the results. But just by the nature of how marketing is, it doesn't always work for everyone, right? Mm-hmm. And so over the course of time, we realized that marketing was just a part of the picture, and there were many other parts of that picture that practices were struggling with no-show rates, with reminding patients of their appointments, streamlining how the patient schedules an appointment, being able to see what was my production on that first visit. More than 95% of practices that come and start an Adit marketing or any kind of marketing program have no clue what they're averaging on the first patient visit from marketing. And so things like that, they just don't have. And so so since that, we've invested so much time, money, and resources pivoting from just being a marketing company to being a all-in-one software solution that gives the data to the practices to really see what is and what is not working, and then gives them the means to act on those data sets, from patient communication to operations, scheduling, forms, payments, everything along the pipeline of taking care of that patient, all the way to seeing what happens, what's that production, and then bringing them back in through recare, getting reviews and things of that nature. And so, so today we're like a full all-on-one solution that kind of solves all those problems. And today, when people join our program, they come in for the tech, they bring in for the analytics, we assess their practice before we diagnose them for a marketing program. Yeah. And so that's kind of like how our company's grown. That doesn't go without saying that we haven't had our struggles. You know, every company has their struggles. And I think us being here 10 years later, still growing and still doing it without any kind of, you know, private equity running or pulling the strings is a huge testament to how great of a team we have. And so,
well, Ali, thank you so much for just sharing all that. And again, thank you so much for, I mean, that's the reason why you guys are here, because Adit is so much more than what you guys were years ago, right? Again, it's a great platform that's an all-in-one solution, and it can really help practices. And so, you know, Jonathan, I want to bring you on here because, you know, you've been in this group for a while, you know so many of the members here, and you understand that, hey, you know, things happen, but it's really what you do afterwards that really defines, you know, what a good company is, and honestly, a company that would work really well with Nifty. So just touch base on that before we dive right into the Adit toolbox.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. So, you know, I've worked for a few companies, you know, over the years, and you know, every time I work for a company, I always make it a key point to understand what the leadership's like, what the software has to offer. But for me, and everyone who knows me knows that this is the way that I work. It's always about the customer, right? The customer experience is key. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. You take care of the doctors; they take care of us, you know. And when I met Ali, you know, he's just such an upstanding guy, and I'm not just trying to toot my horn. I'm trying to suck up to Ali on this call. I genuinely was impressed because I was looking for something that I could commit to, that I could make a long-term investment with. And I really believe that Adit is that company. Ali's an amazing guy. He's the top of the company, and it starts from the top down. And in our discussions, you know, before coming on to Nifty, you know, the discussion, everything we talked about revolved around one thing: the customer experience. Yeah. What we were going to do to make a massive impact in the group, to take care of, to go above and beyond, to put our best foot forward in everything. Stuff happens. We all know that. I don't think there's a company out there that has a perfect record. You name it, I will go find some dirt on them. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, what are we going to do? What do those companies do when stuff doesn't go right? Right. And so our commitment to the group, and what I'm planning to bring here, is that commitment, that pledge that, hey, we're going to always put our best foot forward. We're here to be honest and to treat everybody fairly and just make the biggest impact that we can in the dental office.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing that. And again, you guys are watching this right now, and you probably have an opinion of what Adit is, right? But you're about to learn what Adit is today. And again, it's an amazing platform. I was making a joke earlier that is truly, it's like the software that rules them all, right? Because again, they have so many different features. But look, don't take my word for it. Ali, the CEO, he's actually going to take us through a quick demo here, and he's going to show all the features, all the things that can help you out. And you know, as he is showing you this demo, I'll ask some questions too. I'll field some questions, and we'll get those questions answered. So Ali, you have the floor now.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And Jonathan, thanks for the kind words. At Adit, it's really, really about taking care of the customer, to just reiterate. And that's kind of why we've kind of evolved from being just marketing to all of this, because as we work with dentists on a day-to-day basis, we come across struggles they're having, and we're constantly thinking, how do we solve these problems? And so I want to kind of give you a roadmap of how we solve those problems using our software. So when a customer logs into Adit, this is what they see, right? Now, keep in mind, before I get into this, Adit is your entire software on top of your practice management software. So depending on whatever EHR PMS you're using, Dentrix, Open Dental, EagleSoft, we integrate with just about 90% of the industry with respect to integrations. And we have a very deep integration. So what makes us really special is that we sit on top. So we handle your phones, where your entire patient communication, all your operations with scheduling, digital forms, payments, reviews, all of that. And then we also bring back and give you the data to show you how everything's going on. And then provide all that's doing well in the future, obviously marketing. And so, so right here, when a user logs in, this is kind of what they see, right? They log in, they can see all their notifications on the right, and they can see all their modules here. Everything at Adit is built in-house. We haven't purchased anything. If you've been a customer for Adit for more than 4 or 5 years, you will remember us launching Adit as just one module, and you would have seen the growth Adit did by building each and every one of these modules over time. And so we're more or less fully built in-house. There's no white labeling. There's no outsourcing at all. This is fully one company that built all of this in-house. And so that's a pretty big deal when it comes to scaling and working together between different modules. So what makes Adit special is when you have one login, all of the modules on my screen are talking to each other. And that allows you to build workflows and automations between different things. I'll give you an example, right? So we have patient forms, right? And we have all your reminders in our system through Engage. So what happens is, if you could set it up to where when you schedule a new patient exam or a new patient into your schedule, you can automate the process of sending them a text message that confirms that appointment, but also includes the link to their patient forms. And so that's just a simple workflow that can be done because everything's in one software, right? So let's jump into practice analytics. So practice analytics is essentially where you start your day. It's the 15 minutes in the morning that you'd have a meeting with your team and talk about what problems you need to solve. What are your goals for the day? And what makes Adit so special here is like, you log in, you can see your day right here. So you can see you have 32 appointments on the schedule. You can see those appointments here, both in list view and operatory view. And you can see, okay, I have 15,000 scheduled today, which is above my daily scheduled production goal, right? So you set a goal like, hey, I need to hit 10,000 production per day. If I do that, I'll hit my goal of 180,000 in a month, right? And so hypothetically, so here you can see what's scheduled for that day on your schedule already. And of those patients that are coming in, how much treatment they have unscheduled, meaning the same appointments, how many of those patients have unscheduled treatment? What's the outstanding balances from those patients coming in? And how many family members are unscheduled? A cool trick one of my practices used to do is they used to go look at their schedule a week in advance and see all their unscheduled family members and just call and get them scheduled in. Super effective on filling up your schedule, right? And then you could also see what's your, how many of them have their next hygiene appointment unscheduled. So this is your goal for the day. Now, Adit's dashboard is really cool because it updates in real time. Every 5 minutes, this dashboard is being updated. So as you work in your practice management software, this is going live. And as you scroll, you can see which patients are scheduled, what's their scheduled production, do they have any unscheduled production or family members, and what money they need to pay you, if anything. Remember, Adit is a one solution software. So right here, you can text them directly right here. You can even keep this minimized and keep working on your screen as you text different patients. You can even give this patient a call. You can choose to call from one of the hard phones that we sent to you, like a desk phone, or you can call directly from your laptop or desktop using a headset. And so your phone system is literally right here. You can see this phone system a little bit more in depth right here. You can see, your recents. You can dial out. You can go through your patient directory. Basically, your entire phone system sits here, along with your voicemails, a visual voicemail, all your faxes, and all that kind of stuff. And so the point is that it's all in one. It's all talking to each other. And that itself is the starting point to how Adit software works. It's the only solution that brings in all your patient communication, your metrics, your operations, and your phone system into one software. Any questions so far before I show you one?
Well, so I just got a message from one of the Nifty members, and they're wondering, as far as the analytics go, is that if there's certain KPIs that they're looking for, there's certain data that they want, is the platform, can it be customized? Can you add some other metrics that they can see on the dashboard?
That's a really good question. Unfortunately, you can't. So you can't customize the dashboard, but the way we've built it, we've built a lot of metrics in here. There's specific things that can be customizable, like looking at gross versus net. Mm-hmm. You can come in here and add in which providers you want to track. If you can also, add in which providers doing restorative versus hygiene. You can see all those kinds of things, but you can't really say, hey, I don't want to see this metric here or there. But the benefit is, because it's standardized, it's also on our mobile phone. So when you log into our mobile app, you can see all the metrics there as well. It's all consistently there and updated in real time again. So you don't have to have a morning huddle in front of a computer. You can actually just pull out your phone and do a morning huddle as well. You can see it on the go. If you have providers, like for example, a lot of times in a lot of practices, providers are paid based on their collections, right? So in Adit's dashboard, you can see these kinds of things, production, all that kind of stuff, right? But you can also see collections and a lot of cool things And not only that, but on a provider level, like let's say I'm Dr. Yi, I can actually see what's my performance look like.
Wow.
What am I collecting? I can see it in real time as the day is going on, because as you know, a lot of providers make bonuses based on the, you know, the day that they're in. So you can, that provider can see how much they're generating, what their production is, what their collections are, restorative cases, perio cases, hygiene cases. They can see the reappointment rate, collections rate, diagnostic treatment acceptance rate, all that kind of stuff in real time. So there's a lot of metrics there. It's just not as customizable.
Right.
If you
Now,
know what I mean.
now, just a follow-up question here is, if there's something that they want to see, do the developers over at Adit, do you guys take suggestions, right? Maybe enough
Absolutely,
people
absolutely.
ask something. Is that something you guys are open for? Okay, well then that's good. Good to
Absolutely.
know.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're constantly, I literally had a meeting this morning about how to calculate acceptance rate for providers versus, because, you know, different treatments come out of different appointments. And so all the time, I don't think you're ever completed, right? When you're building and developing. So, another cool metric that I personally love, we just launched this recently off of a customer request. A couple of cool things I'll show you. So the growth dashboard on your homepage kind of shows you on a given day, how many patients, like what was your net growth for the day? And net growth being, you know, how many new patients did you get? But then how many patients did you recapture that were idle for like 12, 18, or 24 months, depending on how you measure it. And then how many patients went inactive? And they would have gone inactive because you changed your status, or because they hit like 18 months where they didn't come in, or, you know, whatever length that you consider to be enough before a patient goes quote unquote churn. And then you can see your net growth. So like, for example, on this day, they got one new patient, they recaptured 3, but they lost 3, right? And so their net growth was 2.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
And so yeah, and that's kind of really cool. So it allows them to kind of see how they're
And you said this was something that like a couple of users wanted, and you guys saw the value, and you guys added that. Okay. So again, that's always good to know, because again, a lot of times we use different software and we feel like we're kind of trapped, and that we have to just do workarounds. It's good to know that you guys listen to feedback and add that as well.
Yeah. Another recommendation we got from one of our groups that does a lot of hygiene work. They're like a hygiene coaching program, and they kind of told us that we need to see what percentage of our hygiene goes fluoride versus perio, like which percentage of our visits get a fluoride or perio treatment. So we built a treatment or dashboard that's specifically customized to showing you production from fluoride, perio, being able to track your hygiene production based on hygiene treatment codes. You know, being able to see how much your hygiene department is doing for you with respect to acceptance rate generation, production, and all that. We get that all the time. Another thing that was really cool, and I might be getting carried away, so please, like, you know, recenter me if I am. But one of my DSOs, not DSOs, but one of my bigger practices, and this has to be updated. This is like a demo account, but one of the things that's really popular for them is being able to see in a given month what's my scheduled production for every day, and how does that compare to my goal. And if there's a day on my calendar next week that's below goal, I need to get my staff to schedule appointments for that day to figure out why am I below production goal for that day. And so I can't show you in a live account because that would be HIPAA, but in our live environment, you're able to actually see that. And that's a pretty big win for a lot of our, not just DSOs, but the really big practices where, you know, the doctor's not more or less in the day-to-day, but just overseeing 3 or 4 associates. And so that's been a big benefit as well. But perhaps the most popular, well, any questions there if I jump in the next segment? Because this is the number one reason people usually switch to Adit. I want to kind of tackle that.
Oh, is it the analytics? Is the number one reason?
Well, everybody comes to me and tells me that, you know, the analytics are great and they're awesome, but like, how do I take action on that? Like, you know, it tells me my problems, but like, what am I supposed to do with that? It's just too much. In fact, they're kind of overwhelmed with the whole concept that, okay, I realize I'm not doing this the right way. Yeah. You know, what do I do, right? And so we've been like, I know we spent a lot of time on our analytics, but there's a lot of teams that add it. And the biggest part is execution. How do you take action on that? And so one of the tools we built is called Patient List. And this thing is amazing. So I'm not going to go too much into details about the software, but I just want you to understand we've really figured out online scheduling. So we make it easy for patients to schedule appointments into your calendar, both for new and existing patients. You can actually preset how you want an existing patient to schedule an appointment. Like, you know, you can say, I want them to come in for this treatment, I need this much time. And you can send them a link and they can go ahead and schedule a date and time. That's all they have to do is select a date and time. and it populates your appointment in your practice management software. So we make the scheduling piece very easy, and that's very important to understand before I walk you through this. So what Adit does is we have this custom filtration system here. So you can kind of come in here and say, hey, I want to target all my active patients who have an unscheduled treatment. And you can specifically come in here and say, I want them to have a specific treatment code, right? And you can, obviously select, whatever you want to select, like, an implant, all on four, any kind of braces, if you're an ortho, whatever the case may be, but you can select a treatment code and you can say, these are all my patients that came in more than 2 weeks ago, right? Who have a treatment amount that's unscheduled above $100 with specifically these two treatment codes, and you click run, and you'll actually get a list of patients that fit that criteria. Okay. And when you get that list of patients, you can, select them, and you can actually take action in bulk. So you can send them an SMS, nice. And in there you can directly get, send them a link to schedule an appointment. You can do it via email or SMS. And then they would receive their own scheduling link in which they can schedule an appointment. And so this has been one of our biggest features at Adit. A lot of practices, the moment they see this, they're like, okay, this is what I need. Sometimes what they're doing is they're taking a list export off in the practice management software, they're giving it to their front desk, and then the front desk is calling one by one. And you can do that here too, but you can just pull up this patient, you can see what's going on. Again, you can give them a call, right? You can text them as well, but then you can see what.
But there's something to be said to be able to automate it so that you get some free your time, right? Your pay. I mean, again, yes. That we always talk about, like, we don't have enough team members, or we want to make things harder. We don't want to make things harder for the team, or if it's too hard, they won't do it. Jonathan, I want to bring you in here because you have a lot of experience. You've worked with some good companies, right? And maybe one not so good company, but we're not going to bring them up here. But you work for some companies, and you have run into situations like this where you're like, hey, I got this awesome tool, and then they come to you and they're like, well, what about this, this, and this? And then you actually became like an expert in everything out of necessity because of what people needed. Well, now you're with Adit, and how helpful is this to be able to offer something that pretty much has almost everything included?
It's amazing. You look at the market and you see how it's evolved from, you have the practice management systems, Dentrix, EagleSoft, Open Dental, and they lack this whole aspect, right? Which opened the door for all these other companies to pop up. So then we evolved to, well, now we have like 3, 4, 5 different services. Great, it's there now. But hey, there's subscription fatigue. We're tired of paying all these fees. We're tired of the systems not talking to each other. We're tired of this and that. And so then you see the next level of evolution, which is Adit, right? It's cutting edge. It's the latest and greatest. And what it is taking it to the next level, where instead of using so many systems, you have it all in one. But not only just all in one, it's automating the processes, so you don't have to think about it. You don't need to have additional staff. It saves you enormous amounts of time throughout the week. And for me, it's a no-brainer. And so when I saw the demo and I was talking to Ali and I was talking to various people on our team about coming on board, it was just really obvious that, hey, this is where the market is going. I mean, Weave was cool, right? They hit the market, they blew up, and they don't do half of what Adit does. Yeah. And so for me, anybody who sits down and actually sees the product, and the demos that I've been on, it's so fun to see the faces of the doctors when they're doing the demo, and they're like, are you serious? Like, it does that? I can save this much time. Like, oh my gosh, I want that. I want this. I want the other. So it is an amazing product. And I would recommend anybody, I mean, being in this industry for 8 years, having worked with the hundreds of companies that I've worked with, this is a software that you at least want to know about, right? It doesn't hurt you to do a demo. It doesn't hurt you to learn. Knowledge is power. And the people that take the time to do a demo and actually understand and appreciate what Adit is bringing to the table, the blood, sweat, and tears that our company has put in to build this, to automate, and to help them level up their practice, this is a must-see, 100%.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, John, for sharing that. All right, Ali, so I know there's so many more features you got to show, so let's just keep going here. Let's just keep going. So we saw the analytics. We saw how the analytics and also the patient communication kind of come together, right? To not only, and again, I love that, right? Because you have, for those who I've coached with, and I want to teach you guys something really quick. Whenever you're looking at data, right? That's like that's something that's already done, right? You can't do any action. But when you have this, the reminders that go with it, they're actionable steps, right? And I love how Addict comes together and does that. So, but that's not everything they do. There's so much more. So let's keep going here because then there's so much to see.
Absolutely. So, and there's a lot. Adit is a really like an enterprise grade software. So, I mean, we could spend like literally some demos last hours because doctors are so intrigued by specific things and whatnot. And so I'll cover like the highlights, the things that really make you understand how much this is supposed to streamline your day to day. And to kind of give you, obviously, we talked about bulk texting, bulk calling. Obviously, you get caller IDs when calls come in, so you know when a patient's calling you in versus an unknown caller. You can see what's their unscheduled treatment, you know, what's their, if they have any unscheduled family members, their DOB, you can see all that on that inbound call. Engage is kind of like where you come in here and you kind of like have your patient communication. So you can like text patients here, and then you can, of course, you can give them a call. You can do mass texting and add it. So where you can, like we just talked about, you can create a list, a very custom list like we talked about, and mass text them. You can set up typical, you know, birthday wishes, schedule confirmations, appointment reminders. You can set up reminders based on operatories, providers, treatment codes. You can set up reminders based on if it's a new or an existing patient, if it's a confirmed or unconfirmed appointment. You can set up a specific language like Spanish, so that if the preferred language in the practice management software is Spanish, the reminders go out in Spanish. Really big deal, especially for, you know, practices out here in Texas.
Yeah.
And California. And so, or along the, you know, honestly, the whole country. And then recall reminders, you can do it based on so many different criteria as well, different recall types and whatnot. We also have a missed call text where if a call comes in and, you know, a lot of practices struggle with picking up the phone, as I was mentioning. So you can quickly send that text message automatically saying, hey, sorry, we missed your call. We'll give you a call back in the next 15 minutes. You know, payment reminders, you know, things like collecting payment, having that payment populate into the practice management software automatically, and then being able to remind patients of outstanding balances, setting up an in-house insurance plan, you know, setting up payment plans. All that can be done within the software. Internal chat software, so you can communicate internally. It's also set up on our mobile device, so you can communicate internally with your team on your phone. Pretty cool, especially because, you know,
Is that
you might
that
have
kind of like a almost like a Slack channel type of
yeah
function?
It's similar in the sense that, yeah, you can internally communicate and whatnot. You can create threads. If you're DSOs, you can like allow people to communicate between departments, or you can funnel it however you want. But then what's really cool about it is like you can add IP restrictions. So that way people can only access your app at the office and not at home, you know, because you have patient data. Yeah. And so that's kind of a big deal. Also, a lot of practice, like everybody doesn't have the same email address. So what happens is, you know, because they don't have the same email address, you can't invite them. So we allow you to be able to invite them using their own number. And so that's pretty cool. And then everybody can use the office email address. So some cool things like that. Patient forms, we integrate all the way.
And we just got a message about that, because patient forms is just a hot topic generally in all the social media groups, because some people say they have patient forms, but they really don't have patient forms. So just dive into that, because again, it's one thing to have a form on your website. There's another thing to actually have forms that you use in the practice and have people sign and all those good things. So let's jump into that, because that's a hot topic, because again, people say they have patient forms but really don't.
Patient forms is probably the hardest module in this entire platform to build, and that includes the phone system, just so you know. And that's how the difficulty, and the reason why is that every practice management software is built very different, right? Every one of them has different fields in certain places. And because they're all so very different, when you set up patient forms, practices come in thinking like, hey, I'm going to streamline everything. And then they find out that allergies or medical history or medications or certain things actually don't sync. So they still need to go back and do those little things. And it just causes a lot of problems, right? And so, I mean, you talk to any communication software that does forms, and they'll tell you the highest touch point is usually forms. So let me talk to you about Adit. So with Adit, we've definitely improved a lot, especially in this year. We integrate with a lot of softwares. And so when you integrate with a lot of softwares, you kind of have to learn how each and every one of them work to be able to build a solution that fits the bill for each type of customer, right? And so with Adit, first of all, when you come to us, you give us your paper forms, or if they're in PDF or Word doc, preferably Word doc, we take it and we convert them into digital forms for you. Okay. But that still means, and that usually takes a lot of time, by the way, but we still do that for you because we want you to get, we know if you have to do it yourself, it's going to take forever. So we kind of do it for you. And so the form build, but that doesn't mean that you can't go in and edit your forms. You can actually go in here and customize and build out your forms as well. What's really cool is when you set up forms with Adit, and like, let's say there's like a first name field, you can actually select which, and again, this is a demo account, but in a live account, you can actually see which field in the practice management software does that field sync with. So when a patient when a patient fills out that form and you receive the form, once you click approve, it ports those data sets, those data fields into the practice management software based on how you synced fields to different, or form fields to fields in your practice management software. In most of the softwares, the PDF will attach into the document center, and some of them it won't. So when you reach out, you kind of have to talk to our team about that, because that's usually a critical point in all of that.
And it just really depends on what practice management software they have, right? So obviously you guys work with, and that's something that we didn't even bring up. You guys pretty much work with almost all of them. And when we're almost done here, we'll go through the list of all the PMS systems that you guys work with. But again, if the doctor lets you guys know, like, hey, we have this, then you guys have worked with everyone. You know exactly what to tell them. And really, guys, all it takes is just actually listening to them, and then you can get your expectations properly set.
Yes. Because there's a lot of things that go into it. Like I said, allergies, medical history, then obviously like patient just regular data, then like emergency contacts, all that. So there's definitely a lot of points that go into that. But what's really cool with Adit is that when you request a form to a patient, we actually know who has forms pending. So I don't know if I showed you earlier, but in practice analytics here, you can see like this patient's coming in, you can see they still have one form that's incomplete. So you automatically know, hey, I need to message this patient that, hey, you have a pending form, I need you to complete that form. And so that's kind of like, where it kind of comes in handy. We also have what we call form reminders, where you can set up an automation that if they have an upcoming appointment within a period of time and they have forms pending, you can automate the process of reminding them to complete that form. You just set it up once, our onboarding team helps you set it up, and then it's just automated, so you don't have to be worried about doing it. You can even do that. You can even assign forms based on treatment code. So for example, if you know certain patients are coming in for a specific treatment code, you need a consent form filled out, you can automate that process by creating rules like, whenever this treatment is associated patient, assign this form. And so just a heads up. So between assigning and reminding, it's usually a pretty big win for our customers on patient forms. Any other questions I can address?
No, I mean, again, I think you went through, and there's, just to let you guys know, this is just a short demo, right? Again, there's so many more things that you can go in depth, and if there's something in particular that that you want to see, whoever's running the demo can let you know, right? So again, I just wanted to show you guys just kind of like the highlights, but there's so much more that Ali can go over right now.
For sure. Absolutely. And there's actually two more points I'd love to go over.
Yeah, let's do it.
Real quick. So we talked about online scheduling earlier, automating the process of scheduling existing patients and making it easy so they can just select a date and time to schedule an appointment. But what Adit also does is we send out review requests. Now we were a marketing company. Okay, so like you can imagine being a marketing company, and we are a marketing, like that's a big part of our company. Getting reviews is like, it's like a solid 30 to 50% of the job in marketing. If you don't have reviews, you're not getting patients. If you do have reviews, you're getting patients. And having a 4.5 rating, 4.7 rating, 4.8 rating is okay, especially if you have hundreds of reviews, right? So we built this, one of the first softwares we built is actually called Positive. It was actually back in the day, 2014, 2015, and we were giving it out for free at the time when you signed up for our marketing program. And so it is actually a website called positive.com. It's our software. And so, but anyway, so we built this software, and the idea is that it really works in getting you reviews. And we make sure it works because our entire marketing program depends on it. You know what I'm saying? And so, and these aren't reviews on some third-party website or in Adit. These are reviews on Google. These are reviews on Yelp. These are reviews on Facebook. And so you can choose the option of making the happy patients go and leave you reviews versus not the unhappy ones, or you can just leave it open and let everyone just go and leave reviews. And so, and we have multiple ways of sending it out. because everyone wants to try out different ways, whether it be through, text conversation, through links, all that kind of stuff. And so, so Positive is pretty cool. We talked about payments a little bit earlier. We also do email campaigns. And this is another example of an automation that just simplifies your life. You can set up a drip campaign for braces, for example. A drip campaign is a sequence of emails that goes out based on a date criteria. So like, let's say someone comes in today for an appointment and you diagnose them for braces, but they don't accept treatment. You can set them up on you can set up a campaign that says over the next 6 months, I want you to hit them with this email, right? This email at 30 days, this email at 45, this at 90, this at 120 and whatsoever. And so now whenever a patient has an unscheduled treatment of braces, they'll get automatically inputted into that email campaign and get that drip of emails. Again, our onboarding team helps you set that up. They help guide you as well. It's more or less those things where you set up and then you don't have to be worried about doing it on a day-to-day. And so that's that's an advanced workflow, we call it. Like there's simple ones and then there's advanced ones. And so, but that just kind of gives you an idea of the power of having everything in one platform. And so,
absolutely. So, let's just, I wanted you to show, again, we talked about how there's so many features, and guys, again, we're going to give you an incentive to do a demo, to see all these things, right? To reach out to Jonathan and do a demo. But you're probably wondering, well, that's all great and all, but, I use Dentrix, or I use EagleSoft, or I use, OpenDental, or I use one of these softwares, and I've run into situations where I saw something really great and it didn't work with my software. So Ali, if you could just jump to that landing page and just show us that graphic of like all the softwares that you can work with. And then we'll talk about the Nifty Deal too, and we'll talk about all the savings. Maybe I'll have Jonathan talk about that. But look at all these softwares right there. I mean, you guys pretty much work with almost everyone.
Yes, both in the USA and Canada. And so these are the integrations we currently have. There are some limitations on like SoftEnd, but outside of SoftEnd, everything here is pretty much a full integration, where we can do just everything I talked about today. There are some limitations on SoftEnd, and there are some minor limitations on Planet DDS. And so, but outside of that, we do have full integrations across the board. So, but
I love it.
But yeah.
And can you scroll up to that one graphic of like where you can save with not having so many softwares? Can you just scroll that up? Like right there. Stop right there.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna let Jonathan talk about this part here. So Jonathan, again, you've worked with multiple companies, and you had to become an expert in everything, because they're like, I like this, like what this company that you're working with, I like this, but I need this, and this. So you already know, Jonathan, like how much people are spending if they paid for something separately. So let's just do some quick math. Do some quick math in your head. How much money would people save if they had like the full gamut of all the products out there in dentistry and they were doing them all separately? Like how much would they be spending, and how much would you save going with Adit, and how much less work too? So how much would you save and how much less work? Because when you have multiple platforms, you have to jump back and forth, right? Your team has to learn everything right there. So talk about those two things there, because you have a lot of experience in that department.
Yeah, I love saving money. I'm a conservative guy. I'm always shopping. I'm trying to be thrifty, right? So that's probably me to a fault. So when I talk to my customers, I'm always like, hey, I'm going to give you a good deal, right? I worked with Mango for a long time, and I was always just trying to be the best price. And so that is something about Adit, is its price is very appealing. We're priced very aggressive. So you're already, by signing up with Adit, you're getting a great deal. But here's what's interesting. If I'm a doctor and I'm a tech guy, right? I've been exposed to so many different companies, and I've had to learn them, the intricacies, the nuances of all these various systems. And the average office is using anywhere between 2 and 4 different systems on top of their practice management solution. Okay. The industry listing price, shelf price for services is on average $300. Okay. So if you have 2 systems, and it's really 2 systems generally don't cover everything, that's going to be anywhere between $600 to $750, depending on what it is, because a lot of systems start at $300, but then there's like, hey, if you want reviews, hey, if you want online scheduling, hey, if you want paperless forms. So then you're $450, $500, right? With one system, then you're $300 for another. So 2 systems could be as much as $600 to $900. 4 systems can be as much as $1,200 to $1,400 a month. And you can come here and you can plug in the various systems and we'll show you what our savings are. So Adit pricing, our shelf price is $549 for everything, phones, analytics, engagement, you name it. And for $549, you can't touch that price. And so a Weave standard pricing is $549 without forms, without
analytics.
I don't know if that includes, without analytics and a few other things. Local Med just does scheduling. Dental Intel does just analytics. It's like, Glenn, do you like peanut butter? Do you eat peanut butter?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
Hey, do you go just to the peanut butter store to buy peanut butter?
No.
Okay, if there was a peanut butter store and you could go get it, is that reliable? Sure, it's there. There's always peanut butter.
Sure.
I know I can go to peanut butter store and I'm going to find good peanut butter. But after a while, you're like, hey, I want to add some tuna fish. Peanut butter and tuna fish is disgusting together, by the way. I wouldn't recommend it.
But maybe jelly.
Yeah, exactly. Peanut butter and jelly, but I'm trying to, okay. So you go to the tuna fish store, you go to the peanut butter store. Now you're like, I need bread. Finally, you're like, hey, these work great. I know where to go to get peanut butter. I know where to go to get tuna fish, but I wish there was one place where I could just buy peanut butter and jelly. And if I want to make tuna fish mayo, right? Walmart, Costco. That's what you're looking at right here. Adit brings all of these together and they do it for the best price.
I love it. But you know what? Here's the thing. Like, okay, look, logically, right? Logically, we gave you all the reasons, right? Financially, we gave you all the reasons, right? But, for those who are like, okay, well, that sounds good, but I don't know. Look, we have a Nifty Thrifty deal, right? You're going to get the Nifty Thrifty pricing, but there's also a deal. And really, the deal is these guys are so confident because they've helped so many people. They've helped so many people save money. They've helped so many people just decrease the amount of work on their teams. They've helped so many people level up that they're really confident. They're really confident they can help you. And there's like, Jonathan, talk about like this, the offer you have just to talk to you, man. Talk about that offer just to talk to you, man. You're going to offer something because you're that confident that Adit can help them. Let's talk about that.
So the offer we have right now, first of all, is we want to be mindful of your time. And we know you're busy and you guys are working hard every day. So if you're willing to take the time out of your day to do it.
Can you scroll up? I think we have the offer up on the, right there.
So we're going to give you a $50 gift card, Amazon gift card, just to talk to us, right? We're so confident in our offer and in our ability to convince you that this is where you want to be. This is what it takes to level up your practice. We're going to throw in a $50 Amazon gift card. And then in addition to that, I mean, this is pretty complex. The onboarding process with a system like ours, it's not like you're just buying peanut butter, right? You're buying the whole shebang, and it takes there's a lot of layers that we got to go through to onboard this system. And so it's quite complex. It takes a lot of man hours, a lot of investment on our time to make sure that, hey, we're customizing this to your needs, to fit your practice, to make your team, to train them, right? There's a lot that goes into it. So our activation price is 50% off. So we're willing to throw in, take off half of what we would charge to pay our team for you guys to sign up.
And honestly, the gift card thing, that's huge because, again, people are like, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Look, just for talking, right? Just for talking here and really going through the demo and really, again, if you feel like this could help your practice and you feel genuine about it, come take this offer. They want to pay for your time, right? But to be honest, they're so confident that after you go through it, you're going to want to use Adit, right? And on top, the cherry on top is you get that 50% off, right? You get the 50% off, and then you're already saving a ton of money because you're not paying for all those other services. It's a win-win. Okay, so guys, we're going to have in the link, in the comments, a link, right? Go to this page to get the Nifty deal, right? Go to this page so that Jonathan can make sure he can take care of you. And that's going to be the fastest way. Again, I told these guys, all right, look, I want you guys to help the Nifty group. I want to do it very efficiently. What's the best way? And they said the best way is using this link. Okay, so guys, you can always reach out to them. You can always do those things. But if you wanted the Nifty deal and you want to, again, like I told Ali, look, hey, man, I need you guys to prioritize my group. You want that priority, you got to use this link. So that's the main thing. So
it's your coupon card.
There you go.
There you go. Coupon if you want the deal.
There you go. So again, hey, look, that's this is all on this landing page here. I want you guys to look at that. You can do this savings calculation. You'll see how much you save. Then you get the gift card. Then you get the 50% off on the onboarding. It's a win-win. So before we jump off here, Jonathan, a few words, and then Ali, a few words before we jump off. So Jonathan, I'll let you go first, and then we'll end with the VIP, the newbie of the group, right? We just threw him into the deep end here, but guys, you're gonna see more of him, and we'll make sure that if you have any questions, we'll make sure he gets to them. So Jonathan, real quick, and then Ali will end with you.
Well, to start off, I am just ecstatic. I'm super excited to be back at Nifty Thrifty, right? This was like my home, away from home, and the last couple of years I've not been able to get in here and get back. So all I've been talking about for the last week and a half with my wife and with like all my friends is like, dude, I'm going back to Nifty. Like, I'm so excited. You know, this group is so amazing, and I couldn't be happier to be back. So Glenn, thank you so much for letting us be here, for supporting us. And you know, our mission here at Adit is truthfully just to help dentists be successful, right? To be more productive. So if there's anything we can ever do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. I don't care what time it is. You know me, when I was doing demos, not that I'm volunteering for this, but I will do it if there's a need. I was doing demos, you know, with various services at midnight, you know, for dentists. And so we are committed, and we want you to have the absolute best experience. So we are here to make a difference.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. And Ali, a few words before we log off here.
Absolutely. So I want to hit 2 points actually. So one of the things I completely forgot to talk about, in every practice, the number one question they typically have is, what does the onboarding process look like? And so I just want to tackle that real quick, if that's okay.
Yeah.
That's usually a big struggle. Like, man, it's a lot to onboard. And so we spend a lot of hours on our end, so you can not have to spend as many hours on your end, and where most of your time is just spent in training. And so obviously you want to realize, if we're changing out 3 to 4 softwares that you're using, you went through an onboarding experience with every one of those softwares, right? And every one of them had a lift on your front staff, because you're going to make the decision, and it shouldn't just be based on financials, because obviously your team has to make a lot of effort to onboard the software, right? So it's not just about the money, it's about the value you get from it, and it's going to take a lot of work on your front as well. And so we want to streamline that. The way it works with our program is that the moment you sign up, we first step in and demo your staff, because we want to make sure they're bought in just as much as you are. So we typically have a meeting with your office manager to walk them through the whole software, and basically, you know, a little bit more in depth than what I covered today. The second thing we do is we have a second meeting where, during this time period, by the way, we've already shipped out your phones. So your phones are going to be on the way to your office. Usually gets to your office between 2 to 4 days of you signing up. And then when you get the phones, our team's going to call you, and you're going to plug in one phone, and we're just going to make sure everything runs okay on that phone. About 85-90% of the time it works okay, in which then we just install the rest of your phones, plug them all into the stations you want them. 10 to 15% of the time, you need to talk to your IT company that might need to do a couple things on your network, which they do usually remotely. And so that's the phone installation sequence. Once that's done, your phones are working and live, we go ahead and have a configuration call. In the configuration call, now through your onboarding process, you're getting these surveys, like these onboarding questionnaires that you need to fill out, that it kind of says, how do you like your reminders? You know, send us your patient forms. You know, typically, how do you schedule? So in this configuration call, we kind of preset everything for you. And then in this meeting, we come in and give you all of we finish off that configuration. That's your third meeting. Then at that point, we let you use the software and let it soak in. And then we do multiple trainings after that. If it's with separate people, with groups of people, whatever works for your office, we then have multiple trainings to ensure you're using the software in the way you intended to use it. Only until you are completely onboarded using the software and feeling comfortable with it do we then say, okay, you've been onboarded onto the Adit platform. And so that typically, and you can see that our commitments for your staff during these processes, it's typically that, you know, 1 to 2, about 2 hours per meeting. And so, and it takes about approximately 2 to 4 weeks to get onboarded at Adit. So just wanted to kind of give you that idea of onboarding, because that's usually the number one question we get. And I forgot to mention. Aside from that, I just want to say that, you know, onboarding is tough, and it is not easy all the time, right? It is a lot of lift on your office, because you're trying to get to this this goal of creating a centralized solution that talks to each other, that helps your practice grow, right? And we're going to be here along the way. We're going to constantly work on improvements. In the last few years, we've never raised our rates. Every customer that signed up for marketing has gotten the entire software for free. We're not the kind of company that comes out and charges everything for upgrades. So all the features half the features we released in just the last 6 months, meaning like a lot of the features we've released in the last 18 months actually have all been given to our customers for free. And so we're not in the upgrades game. We're usually here to help you in any which way. Doesn't mean everything's going to always go perfect, but do know that between Jonathan and I, we're always going to be here. If you have any questions, concerns, we're happy to talk about it and solve it in the best way that we can. So a lot of good people here at Adit that have been here for several years, and they're doing their best to make the best solution for you. And so I hope you get to experience that at Adit and get to experience our customer experience, both from a product and customer support standpoint. So Thank you again for everything, Dr. Vo. I really appreciate the time.
Well, there's nothing else I can say after that, right? So guys, look, there's going to be a link there, and use that link so you can get the Nifty Deal, right? But also that way Jonathan gets tagged in it and he can make sure he takes care of you, because we've all worked with him. We love him. We love the way he's always on top of things, and he's going to make sure that, no matter what, you guys are always going to be taken care of in this group. So make sure you hit that link. And we'll be bringing these guys back more, right? So again, if there's any specific questions, I'll make sure that I tag Jonathan in the post. We'll get those answered. But look, take advantage of that deal. You get that gift card just for doing the demo. Again, if you're serious, right? If you're serious about saving money and consolidating all your services and making life easy for yourself, but also for your team, take advantage of that deal, do the demo, and you'll see for yourself. So guys, Jonathan, Ali, thank you so much for jumping on. Guys, we will see y'all next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.